TGC Rock 1, we're back with Match 3 Shadow Abzan League. This is a good hand. We have a couple creatures, turn 1, Inquisition, in the lands to eventually set up a Death Shadow. So I'm good with what we got here. Go ahead and keep this. We're on the draw. Alright, so it looks like we're into a little bit more of a controlling match here. Let's go ahead and start with Marsh Flats. I like to start with Marsh Flats whenever I can, just because I think it causes people to maybe think we're more of regular Abzan versus Death Shadow, and so sometimes they don't play quite around Death Shadow until it's too late. Remand and Snapcaster Mage. Huh. And a Desolate Lighthouse. Gosh, this almost just looks like a Splinter Twin deck, which is kind of interesting. I definitely don't want to get tempoed out with Remand on Grim Flayer next turn, so we're just going to go ahead and take that away right now. I definitely want the Grim Flayer to stick if at all possible. An opponent is fetching right away. Okay, so maybe this is Blue Moon. I'm thinking this is Blue Moon, so we're actually just going to be a little more aggressive towards fetching to a basic now. Opponent's going to play another turn. Goes for another island. We'll be pretty confident that he's just a Blue Moon player. Yeah. So he tries to flash in a Snapcaster, for the Ambush Viper, we'll just unsubstantiate. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. Okay. And then we'll just go ahead and stick a Death Shadow and another Grim Flayer. And then basically next turn will be pretty much the same. If he flashes on a Snapcaster Mage to try and Ambush Viper us, we can just Flare, Shadow. Or more likely, we probably would Fatal Push it. So we know 3 of the cards in our opponent's hand still. Opponent's got a Torrential Gear Hulk on top, so that's that's worth noting. And assuming we're going to get an unsubstantiate here, yeah. And then before blocks, we'll just go ahead and kill off the Snapcaster Mage. That way he can't trade it with any of our creatures. Probably going to bounce the Flare. unfortunately. And so the beat goes on. We could actually traverse. Oh man. So again, before combat, we're just going to go ahead and swing in. We could actually traverse. Yeah, so gotta think through your plays. I actually could have traversed for a shock land there and made our shadow a bit bigger. Liliana of the Veil is excellent right now. I don't know that we really care so much about the Inquisitions. The cards we want to hit out of its hand would be like Cryptic Command and the Torrential Gearhulk, whereas Liliana of the Veil can get rid of the Torrential Gearhulk after it comes down. And then we're just going to go ahead jam another shadow here. If that resolves, we'll jam a Grimflare. There's only one card we don't know about right now. What do we got going on? Oh, it looks like he's just using loot effect from the Desolate Lighthouse in response to the Grimflare. Discards a Lightning Bolt. Gonna get a spell snare, yep. So that's an excellent draw for what he's looking for there. But it's good to know that he won't be able to spell snare the next card. We know what all of his cards in hand are, and now that he played the Flooded Strand, we know the Flooded Strand as well. So he has a Torrential Gearhulk. I think we just traverse into a couple different fetches. Oh, we can only crack one though, right? And then we just go to combat. He Torrential Gearhulks. After combat, we Liliana of the Veil to kill the Gearhulk. And he's at 2 life, and we still have more gas in hand. And before we let him pick his spell, we make his Lightning Bolt ineffective. And we just really hope he doesn't choose Remand, which he didn't. Excellent. Suppose if he chose Remand, we just go Traverse and into another Death Shadow and play 2 more Death Shadows. And Thoughtseize is the perfect card on the top for what we're looking to do next turn. We just got to get one creature in, and we're going to have essentially 4 shadows next turn. Finally plays the island. He's got one other spell. Is it worth playing out the game knowing you're going to lose? I guess if he has a Cryptic, he could still buy some time. Yeah, he just concedes there. All right, so we were on the draw, so we'd have gotten a win on turn 7 there. And again, at this point, all I can imagine is it's Blue Moon. We didn't technically see any Blood Moons, but that many islands, that's basically the only real reason. We'll be on the draw for game 2. So blue-red's going to have a little bit of weakness with removal. He's not going to have a ton of removal that's going to pair up well with our creatures, so the bounce effect sounds about right. But that also makes me feel really hesitant with Blood Moon to really bring in any of these white cards. I may keep a Path to Exile in. I don't know. We'll have to think about this. But Liliana of Liliana of the Last Hope. If we can resolve it before a Blood Moon, that's pretty good. But I don't know that's what we really want to be doing. I definitely think we want to bring these in. Again, I don't know that Fulminator Mage is really necessary. It could be like the last card in. And then I think we definitely want to bring in the Graveyard Hate. Be a little careful with the Street Wraiths, at least cutting 1 or 2. I think we can definitely cut probably a good 3 Fatal Push. We want to keep the Abrupt Decays as ways to handle the Blood Moons. I'm just thinking it's possible that Liliana the Last Hope is just not really good enough on the draw, probably good enough on the play. I guess it doesn't really matter. We just want to get a turn 3 Liliana down, really, is what we want. I am going to actually probably pull the Path here. It is one of our only ways to handle Torrential Gearhulk. We just got to make sure we're in position to beat a Blood Moon. So I'm actually going to cut the other Fatal Push. I'm going to cut one of these Lilies and the Path. Just really trying to avoid having any need. We actually probably could cut a land there. So we were just running a little short on time to make our call. But if we... so this is actually pretty good. I mean, we definitely need to draw another land, and we could run shy, but being able to protect ourselves from the Blood Moon against a deck that's probably not going to be too aggressive is pretty great and a lot of hand disruption. So I'm going to keep this. We're just going to hope to hit a little bit of luck with our draws. Get a little Serum Visions action from the opponent. With the Death Shadow, we probably... well, we're still not going to prioritize Thoughtseize till the next turn. If we see a land on top, we will probably not play anything this turn. Because we can always just double Thoughtseize next turn, or Thoughtseize Inquisition next turn. But we really want to prioritize the Blood Moons right now, and so that would be... that's not what we want. It can go get us our other land, but to do that would require us to fetch for a green source here, which means we wouldn't be able to cast anything. So then the Thoughtseize can go after a bigger spell like a Torrential Gearhulk or a Cryptic Command. Relic is a bit more problematic than the Bolts are. I really hope we hit a green fetch here with this bauble. So we're really looking good with these brutalities as well if we can peel a second land. Fortunately not. Can't imagine he's running many Gear Hulks. I think long term the Gear Hulk probably presents more problems than the Cryptic Commands do. And we can also get the Cryptic Commands off the Collective Brutalities. How's that for a hand? 2 Cryptics and 2 Bolts. Snapcaster into a Serum Visions here. Really hope he misses that land. We could use the land. Usually not a huge fan of keeping one land hands without redraws, but this hand seemed like it could really make its way through the wilderness, if you will. So this is great. So we're actually going to be able to collect a Brutality to kill the Snapcaster and take the Cryptic Command. I think we probably discard the Abrupt Decay here. We don't want to gain life. And if he starts firing off bolts, oh great, and negate doesn't even do anything to the creatures, and we now have 4 types in the graveyard for Flare. So we'll definitely just stick the Flare here. Hope to ride this to victory through the lightning bolts. He's not going to fire off a single lightning bolt at the Grim Flayer, and he's not going to go at us till he gets us in range to where he thinks it's viable. Gotta imagine my opponent is not feeling great about how this game has gone so far, considering how few lands were involved. I could totally see him. Okay, so he actually pitches the negate, which now that makes our Collective Brutality look better. And the Inquisition. Really looking for another land here. Would love to throw a land down before we go to combat. Excellent. Gonna Snapcaster negate this. That works. And then we will just kill the Snapcaster Mage with the Collective Brutality. And then his Lightning Bolt can't kill our Grim Flayer anyway. Or else his Lightning Bolt can't be cast. So we're good there. That works out for us. We'll be able to jam 2 Shadows next turn. I suppose we are at a little bit of a risk of him getting another Snapcaster Mage. But he still can only fire off one bolt at a time at the moment, so we're not in too much trouble, at least to this point. So actually, Nihil Spellbomb is probably one of the best draws we could get right here. Traverse is fine too. I actually think we're going to pitch the Traverse though, because we're at a risk of a Blood Moon. And I think we have enough gas in hand to finish this game out anyway. Opponent basically needs something real good right now or he's over. He can only chump block one creature. That allows us to get 9 in. So he's probably going to be doing a little filtering here. Probably needs like a cryptic command. If he pitches a lightning bolt, that's an excellent sign for us. Really, he'd be happy to just fire off 2 lightning bolts to kill one of the creatures probably. Yeah, Blood Moon is no good for you right now, so he probably just drew into that. It's possible we even just get a concession right here. I mean, that was pretty brutal. We hit him with at least 5 pieces of hand disruption, possibly 6, no 5, definitely 5. Off of a 1-lander for quite a while. So it looks like he's going to go for the lightning bolt, possibly to try and kill the Flayer, chump on the shadow. Yeah. Gosh, that's got to feel terrible. Only to have Liliana come down and clear the way. All right, and so that is the match. Whew. A little bit of a risky keep, but again, just it was packed full of the cards that actually mattered, I think, in the matchup, and so we were able to buy enough time, and he had a slow enough draw. Granted, so if his hand hadn't been Torrential Gear Hulk, 2 Cryptics, and Lightning Bolt, which is not irrelevant, but it's somewhat irrelevant. He wants him for removal and then also to close the game quickly on us, but we never really put the game into a position where he could close quickly on us. It just kind of made it so that he didn't really get to make any choices with the cards that he had. In fact, he had to use 2 lightning bolts to kill a Grimflayer, which is just absolutely brutal. So all said, good start for this league, 2-0 in the match, and that puts us at 3-0 and 6-1 in games. We'll be back with more matches soon.